Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest episode of our entertainment show. As you know, we've been building up for the last few weeks for the debut of our season 2 premiere of our Stargate Syfy cult classics documentary. As you know, season 1 was such a huge success. We had over 38 episodes. We had everyone from Robert Davi to Tara Rocher to Robert Picardo to Alexis Cruz and many, many more. And season 2, we have some great actors and actresses in store lined up coming your way to speak about their experiences, whether it be the Stargate the movie, Stargate SG1, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe, or Stargate Origins. And for this particular episode, I'm delighted to be joined by an actor who appeared in Stargate SG1. He appeared in 2 episodes in total, playing the role of, in season 3, he appeared as Kalan, one of the leaders of the Albanian sort of people, as sort of such. And in season 8, he appeared as the character Dr. Carmichael. Andrew, in terms of your appearances in Stargate, were you based in Vancouver around the time when you tried out first for season 3, and had you tried out previously in season 1 and season 1 and 2 for various different roles, or how did Stargate come on the radar for you?
Yes. I was living in Vancouver at the time. I had moved out here from Toronto, and previously to that, New York and Glasgow before that. But I'd been here for a few years, and yes, I had read for a couple of very good roles in seasons 1 and 2. And they just didn't quite come through until in season 3 in Learning Curve. I think it was as you said, the Kalan character came up, and so I read for that, and then a few years later, I think it was season 8, if I'm not mistaken, the Avatar one. Martin Wood, who had directed the first one, just called my agent and said, "Listen, I've got a role in here. I just love Andrew to do it. Would he do it?" And I said, "Of course. I love Martin." I had a great time with the cast the first time around, so there was no hesitation.
And Andrew, in terms of the Kalan sort of character, in terms of seeing him written down, the sort of script and what the producers and directors wanted to portray that sort of character, what sort of idea had you in mind in terms of this father figure of Toman and this young Garmeren, and obviously portraying that sort of chemistry between you and those sort of working with those 2 child actors? Did you enjoy that sort of bouncing off sort of 2 child actors at the time in terms of that sort of role?
Oh, very much, very much. They were very different kids, but they were both absolutely adorable. I loved them both. They were, and I think Brittany had the certainly a bit more of the heavy lifting to do in her scenes. I thought she was just absolutely fantastic, whether it was scenes with me or with particularly in her scenes with Amanda. And Richard Dean Anderson. I mean, I think she just soared in the episode. There wasn't a lot of time to sort of prepare for the character. Back in at that time, we were still getting scripts like physically sent to us. So a driver would show up at your door and hand you a script, and they're always very careful on most shows to not give you a script too far ahead of time, because there's going to be changes and whatnot. Whereas today, we get them in an email, and you very often have a bit more time to prepare. So in this one, I just relied on when I got to set, Martin Wood and Brad Wright said, "Look, this is the way the guy is. This is how we see him. So just take a minute with that, and whatever bring what you were going to bring. What you did in the audition was great, but we just want to adjust or make these suggestions." And we just kind of did it on the fly. And then they also talked with the kids, and particularly Britt playing Marin, to say, your people are different from these humans you're encountering, and you don't understand. You genuinely don't understand the concepts they're speaking about so freely. What do you mean teaching? What fun? What even is that? You genuinely don't understand it. So there was always trying to just sort of keep that flavor that Brad and Martin had suggested. That was always sort of the forefront of my thoughts in bringing the character, that he was just a little, there's something off about him, not creepy, just he doesn't get it. He's just not got a clue.
And Andrew, in terms of the sort of scenes and the sort of location, it almost felt like an old sort of temple or chemistry where the Ordanians were sort of placed. In terms of that sort of studio lot sort of location and sort of such, was it designs in terms of the pillars? Did it almost feel like an ancient sort of Egypt sort of vibe to it, that you were in a broken down temple or something?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the great things about Stargate, especially when you're doing in studio work, the worlds they built, the sets they built, half your job was done for you. It really was. You didn't have to. I mean, there would be green screens for certain elements that require that, but very, very often you were just completely surrounded by these authentic, real feeling sets, and it's just so easy for an actor to play in that, as opposed to playing widely to green screens and imagine what you're seeing now, and so you'll be at this point, and you didn't have to do it. They built such fantastic sets, and the detail as were in their costumes as well. It was a real proper show, a real proper outfit. It was just a pleasure to work on.
And Andrew, coming back in season 8 in terms of your role, and you mentioned the difference, obviously 5 seasons sort of later in terms of Dr. Carmichael, had you sort of a new sort of twist in terms of that? Obviously, it was a long time since you appeared, so obviously, did you feel that you're almost going back, portraying a different sort of version of you in terms of for that of Stargate fan base audience, that they couldn't really recognize or resonate the two sort of characters, the character that you played previously to that?
Yeah, well, I think the Brad and the writers and Martin made it fairly easy for me. That he was so my hair was completely different. I didn't look at all like I did 5 years before. So that lifted any kind of burden or thought that I had of I don't want to be confusing two characters, and they were just so fundamentally different. Dr. Carmichael was I think it was a bit more of a smaller supportive role. I was there to confirm a lot of the medical things that were happening to Teal'c as he was experiencing as he went deeper and deeper in the game. So the roles were very much different. I didn't have to find any of the similar passion that Kalan had to bring forward when his daughter is kidnapped back to Earth temporarily. It was a bit more of a straightforward role, if you will. But it was equally fun to play, because by this time, I mean, even in season 3, they were quite a well-oiled machine. But by season 8, they, the whole group, the cast and crew, just were in sync all the time, and it was a real honor to be a part of that show and where they were at that time in their run.
And did you feel maybe for you, Andrew, that Stargate opened up doors, opened up opportunities for you to have that on your sort of resume as such?
Oh, for sure it did. I mean, it certainly there were opportunities that came, shortly after the episode aired, and it got, I think it was quite well received. And my agent would pass on. They said, "Oh yes, we've seen. They saw your work on that," and I ended up doing quite a bit of sci-fi over the years, and I've very little doubt that that my roots in SG1 have helped lend some my sci-fi cred with producers or casting people subsequently. So and to this day I'm still amazed. I'm amazed by the. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens occasionally where someone comes up and they go, "Oh, Kalan." And the first time it happened quite a while ago, I was on a bus, and I'm rarely ever on the bus, and the fellow said, "You're Kalan." I said, "Oh no, I think you've got me mistaken." Because not even remembering the character's name, I didn't think he was putting me. And then he goes, "No, Kalan, Learning Curve, season 3." I'm like, "Oh, right, yes." And then the fellow just went into. I didn't get a word in for 10 minutes. He just, do you think that what they were doing there with the children? Did you have any problem? And then he didn't wait for the answer. He was so happy to just relive the episode. It was terrific. So sometimes I'll get sort of noticed, and someone will go, "Oh, are you in something?" The Stargate fans, they know what episode you've been in. They don't go, "Oh, I recognize you. You're from something." Right? No, they know. "Oh, episode 3 or season 3, episode such and such." They're really, really terrific. It amazes me, the depth of their memory and knowledge.
And Andrew, in terms of Stargate SG1, have you any particular story that's unique to you in terms of maybe an interaction with a cast member, some funny joke, some blooper or something offset that still makes you laugh, still makes you smile to this day? Maybe it was a funny moment with one of the kids that on set that still makes you smile when you think back of Stargate, when you think back of that person. That's the sort of story that comes to mind.
It's been so long ago, and there's been so many jobs in between. I need all my faculty for remembering needs to go into current. The old wheels don't turn quite as smoothly as they do. The only thing I can I mean, there was a lot of great patter and exchange between the cast members in the hair and makeup trailer and sitting in the chairs afterwards. I don't remember those specific. The one funny thing I do remember is I had to wear this big enormous cape kind of outfit as my costume, and I remember we were having a little difficulty getting my exit on one scene where I had to just come around the corner. Kind of, he was angry and he was walking away, Martin was, but you're walking away, you're confident, you're angry, you're strong, and I didn't get it, and didn't get, just for different sort of technical things. And then we thought we had it on this last one, and as I was going around the corner, the big giant freaking cape thing caught on the edge of the set, and I just kept going, and the thing it came off and is flying in the air, and Martin, in his way, it wasn't the take they used, but they had to move on. He was, "That's a cut. I love it. We're going with that one." And so that's my one funny memory that related to just my own character on the show. He's a real delight. Have you interviewed Martin at all in your process?
In terms of I've been studying basically on guest actors and actors that have appeared. In terms of, I haven't gone down the producer sort of director sort of route yet.
Budget more than 15 minutes for Martin. I'll just tell you that he's
okay.
Wonderful.
Okay, and Andrew, in terms of just before I wrap up with the sort of final question, I do believe you have some Donegal sort of heritage in your ancestry, your DNA.
Yes, we do indeed. My mother's side of the family came from Ireland, the Dawes, and also my my closest cousin married a girl from Donegal, the Sweeneys. From, if that's not giving away too much private information for them, I'm sure they'll be thrilled. So I grew up in Glasgow with a lot of Irish roots around me. So I haven't had the opportunity as yet to get there, but I really do want to get boots on the ground over there at some point soon.
Okay. And before I let you go, Andrew Airlie, just the question that I finished with all these sort of interviews so far is one question that is sort of consistent to this documentary. Let's pretend there was a Stargate encyclopedia, a sort of dictionary as such, and it put out throughout the seasons, they put down every fictional character in this sort of dictionary, and they left 2 blank sentences underneath his name. And we'll just take the character Kalan, because I know you played 2. And let's say they put Kalan into that encyclopedia dictionary, and they got onto your talent agent, got onto you and said, listen, as a synopsis as such, we want Andrew Airlie to write those 2 sentences to summarize what Kalan is or what type of individual he was. What would you like those 2 sentences to read?
Wow. Kalan is a very misunderstood man.
Okay. One sentence.
Kalan is a very misunderstood man. He's passionate and loving in ways that you just don't recognize.
Okay, powerful stuff. On that note, Andrew Airlie, thanks for joining us today to relive your memories of your time in Stargate SG1, where you played the characters Kalan in season 3, one of the members of the Albanian community, and in season 8 you played the role of Dr. Carmichael. No doubt for you, pleasant memories of your time. It's great to see that you're still pleasantly involved in that sci-fi universe, and no doubt about it, when other opportunities come down the pipeline in terms of possibly another Stargate TV series is rumored to be in the works, or a movie that might be around the corner, we might see you venture on our screens again in that sort of genre. But for the moment, Andrew Airlie, take care, God bless, and stay safe.
Thank you very much, and to you. Cheers.